Okay, welcome back to the Bite the Abstract podcast. I'm Corey.
And I'm Alyssa. With an A, Alyssa. I always have to introduce myself like that. So I want to start off this podcast by saying something that's controversial that I feel like a lot of mostly like older generations don't agree with. But I don't think that your relationship should be hard. And I don't think that relationships need to be hard work.
Ooh, that's spicy.
So to pause too. I know that and we'll revisit because we stopped our last podcast episode saying how to integrate families and stuff like that. So we're gonna put a little pin in that, and
we'll come back to that.
We're gonna come back to that in a minute.
I will say first, this is the part 2 of our relationships. Part 2 of the relationship episode.
I almost feel like there could potentially be a part 3 to this.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. We'll see how it goes. But for now, this is 2. 1 is coming, and it's probably up. Well, it's definitely up by the time this is up.
Yeah.
But anyways. So Alyssa's got she's got a whole list of things.
I do. In case you don't know me, I'm a list maker. I don't know, is that type A or is that type B? You know how there's types? Whatever
personalities.
is the list
Mabel,
making.
come on. Don't be doing that. Come on. We're doing the podcast. Maybe. Type A and type B personalities.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Whichever one's the list.
I've heard of that, but I don't know. I don't know which one is which.
I don't either. Anyways, regardless, I do have my list. But yeah, I wanted to start off by, I feel like I hear so many people, and it's specifically people that are over I would say the age of 40. Mm-hmm. And even in when it's anniversary posts on Facebook and relationships are such hard work, but it's worth it to be with you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Be so for real. You just don't like your significant other. Just say it and move on. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's embarrassing for me.
Yeah. So you don't think they should be hard at all?
So I don't. So that's. That could go a couple of ways, right? I don't think that I've ever thought of our relationship as hard.
Yeah, me either.
I've never been we have to do this hard thing. Yeah, you have to do hard things together, just because life is hard. Mm-hmm. But your relationship aspect of your life should not be hard.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to say, I think it shouldn't be hard to love your partner. It should,
of course.
It shouldn't be hard to love your partner, and it also shouldn't be hard to be around your partner.
Yeah, I think that's a huge thing too. I do understand I feel like there's a fine line with it being hard being around your partner if maybe you don't have a lot of alone time that you need.
Well, yeah, there's a difference though.
That's a communication issue.
Right, because mm-hmm. there's not wanting to be around your partner, and then there's needing to be alone.
Yeah.
Because those two are not mutually exclusive, you know.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people mix those two things up. If they need alone time, but they're around their partner. Exclusive. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, I feel like those two things get mixed up. So you need alone time, but your partner wants to hang out with you. That's a thing that you need to communicate with them.
Right.
As opposed to just
Which goes back to the communication thing that
you
left with on the last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. It's and not to mention, a lot of people don't think that that's normal. I don't know. From what I've seen, it's usually guys feeling like they can't get away from their girlfriend, and their girlfriend always wanting to be close. And whoever's problem that is, or whoever is causing that, it boils down to communication, and then you allowing your partner to meet, to have their needs. Mm-hmm. You know,
yeah.
If I have hobbies I like to do, and I'm gonna do them. So I can't let you get in the way of them, and I can't let you be upset when I do them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know? I have a real life example of that. Not with you, but a partner that I've had in the past. So from my perspective of things, I obviously wanted to be with them, but they were really busy with school. I'm trying really hard to not use words that people would know who I'm talking about if they know me. But They were like trying really hard for like school, so they were really busy all the time, and I would only see them on Saturdays. That was the only day of the week this person allowed me to see them.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they were busy with said hobbies and they were, doing whatever it was that they were doing, and I couldn't see them, that would make me really upset. But the problem is it was a communication issue because we hardly ever texted or anything. Most of our communication was through like, this is so stupid and like such a young person thing, but it was like through Snapchat mostly. And so there was like no words being exchanged. And so they would always be really upset with me if I would just like go over to their house just to make sure that they were like okay, because I hadn't heard from them in like a week plus. So they would be so pissed at me over that. But I'm like, first of all, are you dead? Like, you're still alive, right? And they were like, you're just like barging in on me and my time. Dude, it's been 6 days since I've heard from you.
Yeah.
You're lucky
like
I'm not
to
calling
hear
the
from
police. Like, I need to do like a well check on you. Like,
Yeah.
So yeah, that was mostly just a scenario of like communication
Right.
is really
You
garbage.
need to, yeah.
Step it up.
It's like the whole back and forth getting upset at each other like never
Yeah.
ends. Never ends if you don't communicate.
Yeah,
And so like as soon as you have that communication and you find out what the need is that isn't being met, you meet it, and then boom, no more upset at each other.
I don't think that we've ever really experienced that. Mostly because I think coming into our relationship, I was like, I work 2 jobs. I'm super busy all the time. And one of my jobs is one of my hobbies. So if you don't like that, then that's just going to be too bad for you. I think those are probably the exact words that I said to you too at one point.
Probably, yeah.
And you were like, that makes sense. I like to hang out with my friends a lot too. And I was like, perfect, because we're going to never hang out. So that's going to work out perfect.
we hang out all the time.
Well, now we live together, so now it's a
Yeah.
little different. But
Yeah, but like, I mean, even though we live together, there's still the time where it's like
yeah.
we're actually having a hangout, you know?
Yeah. Most people would disagree with that because I feel like when we hang out, it's like just like we're either making dinner and watching TV. But to me, that counts as hanging out. Like, that makes
It's a
me
hobby.
feel
It's
filled
it's
enough.
a hobby we have.
Yeah.
And we do other things too.
Yeah.
Like we went and saw Wonka the other day. That was fun.
Saw what?
Wonka. How can
Yeah.
you not say it like that? Wonka.
I don't know. That was a good movie, though. I really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah, that was a pretty good movie.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was good.
What were we talking about? Communication?
But, yeah, so just like circling back around, I just feel like your relationship should never be something that feels difficult.
Right. Yeah.
And if it feels difficult, I feel like there's a lot of
There-
inner work that needs to be done.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a multitude of things, but
Mm-hmm.
if it feels difficult and you're not doing anything about it, then you don't know how to be in a relationship. And you might not need to be in one,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Another on like the flip side of things, like I feel like certain things should feel difficult, but I just feel like like you said, like your relationship as a whole shouldn't be hard. That shouldn't have to be something that you have to work super hard towards.
It should be somewhat natural, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Like it should be kind of effortless. Like you shouldn't have to try to be someone you're not. You shouldn't have to try to please someone. You know, it's like
Yeah, like you said, like it being natural, like that you should just always be able to come back to that person. Like I know that I could tell you probably anything at all, and for the most part, you wouldn't be upset with me. Like, of course, you would be upset if I went and did something like irrational. You know what I mean? Like if I went and like cheated on you, sure, you'd be upset at that. But that's like not an okay thing to do,
right.
obviously,
Yeah,
right?
that's
But
like-
aside from like bad stuff like that,
I mean, that's a whole other thing. It's like
yeah, but I feel like I could tell you anything, and you would just be like, okay, like we can work through that. That's no problem.
yeah,
I mean, you've came to me and have had the same things. You know what I mean? And we've been able. It's either if you're gonna work on it, you work on it, or if you don't, you don't, and then you don't have a relationship.
yeah. I mean, some things you can't work on, but like, yeah, that's a whole other thing. But yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought there. I was gonna say something about what we were just talking about, but I'm kind of losing it. So
Understandable. One thing that I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and She's not quite a bit, I guess. I don't know. She's 19, and her boyfriend lived together, which I think is so young. You probably have more to say.
I
'Cause
mean,
you lived with your partner as
I
a
lived
young
with my
adult.
partner at 18. Yeah, the first time I moved out.
That's absolutely insane to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was not like, I personally don't think there's like an age on it, but like if you're like moving it, I don't know. Getting time to live alone or with my friends was so helpful for my development. Like
Yeah,
I I needed that personally. But like
I think so too.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess there is an age that's too early. Like I just don't think your first time moving out should that's funny as your first time moving out. But it's I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's different types of situations. Like my situation, I should have lived with friends first because I didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
You know, I needed to discover myself and figure out like what I like doing, and you can't do that when you live with a partner.
For sure.
Like, yeah. So like there needs to be bottom line before you live with the partner. You need to know who you are for sure.
Yeah.
Not for 18-year-old, sure.
Right. Yeah. So I was talking to her. So I think she's 19 and her partner's either 19 or 20. So fairly young still. And I don't remember why we started talking about this, but I was like, oh yeah, me and my boyfriend have been to couples therapy together. And then I was like, I felt like I had to explain myself. Like, we don't dislike each other. We just like kind of went as like a preventative thing kind of. But then I was just explaining, like, I was having a hard time with things and it would just would have been better if he was there. And she was like, no, I fully understand that. I do the same thing. And then we started talking about, like, I'm not, like, ashamed or, like, embarrassed to tell people that we've gone to couples therapy, but I, like, hide it from people just because I know that other people will judge me for it because they're like, well, you're already going to couples therapy. You've only been together for a couple of years. Like, why would you do that? I feel like that's not something that a lot of people do before there's an issue in the relationship.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I think it was very helpful
I mean,
for us.
yeah, I don't. I mean, yeah, we went for a reason. We didn't just go for funsies. Like,
Yeah.
I
But
don't think there was like an issue in our relationship, but like we were having personal issues and like
Yeah.
and like just being together and at a therapist who's like really effective at that that getting that point across, it like really helps you center like what you're thinking. Like
Yeah.
it just helped you think like, am I actually being irrational, or is this actually a silly thought, or whatever.
Yeah. And I think that helped. That was the first time we went, it was a huge turning point in our relationship too. It was either like, we weren't sure if like we were like compatible with each other, I feel like. And then our therapist was like, you both need to chill out. Like, you're both doing so amazing. Like, you need to stop like stressing about all these minor things. And we were like, yeah, word. Like,
Oh, true.
you're so right. Yeah. And then I feel like it's just been like so
Yeah.
blissful ever since then.
Yeah, I agree. That like kind of helped me come to like accepting that like you're my family, and it like helped me say like, yeah, I'm not leaving this person. Like, I don't care how I feel. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care what I'm thinking. I'm not leaving this person. This is my family.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like that was just such a good like little moment we had with our little therapist lady. She was so great. Yeah, she was so nice. But
Very effective at what she was trying to do.
yeah, definitely. I just wish more people were open to going to therapy.
Yeah.
I feel like earlier in their relationship, as opposed to like, or maybe like identifying when therapy is needed.
Yeah, and just being more open to it at all. Because
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't want to do it because they think it means there's something wrong, and it's like, maybe it does, but like you might need it.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like everyone in the whole world needs therapy. Like, if we end up having a kid, by the time they are, I think maybe like 8 or 10 is a pretty good time to be like, okay,
Yeah.
like that's just something that you should do.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope that our kids won't really need it, because like we don't do anything that
Yeah.
that gives them trauma, but at the same time, it's like I'm thinking about that Macklemore song about his kid. Did you know that one? The like
Yeah.
growing up one. It's so sweet, but like, it's like, it's that whole thing, like, how am I supposed to raise you if I'm still growing up? And like, I never stop growing up, like figuring
Yeah.
out what the hell I'm doing, you know? I mean,
Yeah, it never
you're,
ends.
you're never going to stop. You don't know. Like, I saw I'm tangenting, but I saw a video yesterday and it was like, what age were you or how old were you when you realized that your parents didn't know what they were doing either?
Yeah.
And they still don't. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh, like, nah, shit wasn't together. Or like,
Right. Yeah.
like, it wasn't just all peachy like it felt when you were a kid,
Yeah. It's so much nicer being a kid.
Right.
I feel like even though your parents aren't, like my parents were, it was fairly easy to grow up with my parents, I'm going to say. I'm going to go off on a limb and say my growing up was fairly easy for the most part, but school was really hard for me. Like if I had the opportunity to see a therapist younger, I would probably mostly be talking about like school stresses or like even like friend stress too. I feel like that's something that people don't normally think about.
Yeah. I don't even know. I had a pretty easygoing childhood. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't like, until I started becoming like aware,
I-
that's when it started feeling yuck. But I don't feel like I felt bad as a kid. Like, I just was kind of
Yeah.
like in my own little shell, you know?
Yeah, I was very like introverted and like painfully introverted. Like if the teacher called on me in class, I easily could have just thrown up right then
Oh,
and
yeah.
there on the floor,
Me too. Yeah,
you know?
like, social anxiety was off the charts. Like,
So see, like stuff like that would have just been like such a good
therapy
thing.
could have totally helped with that. Like,
Yeah.
But I guess, like, I did get therapy as an adult, and it
Yeah.
totally helped it.
For sure.
But
It just would have been nicer to have
Yeah.
access to that at an earlier age.
if only the world was just like peaceful and everybody was living in pure blissful awareness,
I know.
and nobody had issues like that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but yeah, there's this thing circling TikTok right now. I was telling you about this morning, so I know that you don't have TikTok, but there's these two things that are circling right now. One of them, it's called an orange peel theory. And so just like the premise of that is if I were to be like, oh, hey, like, can you peel me an orange right now? Like, even though we're sitting in our kitchen and I'm
both
like
doing nothing.
both doing nothing, I'm fully capable of doing it.
Yeah.
You would, and if I asked you to, you just would do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like the premise of the theory is like, even though I'm fully capable of doing it, you would just do it for me. Just like, because you're thoughtful and you just would do that for me. So I feel like there's a lot of people in the world that have never experienced a partner or a friend or anyone ever, like have never had a relationship where that is true. Because I feel like that goes both ways for us. Like last night you were like, we like just got in bed and you're like, I need distilled water. I was like, that's fine. I guess we can go to the store. It was like 9:00 at night. Like,
Damn distilled water.
I guess. So of course I'll go with you because you would go with me if I asked you to. Mm-hmm. I can't think of anything. I guess I can't think of a lot of things. Like last night I was like, do you think you could fill up my water? Please.
Almost every night. Can you give me my nighttime
Can
medicine?
you go get it? Yeah. Can you go get it for me? I'm already in bed. I'm off to sleepy time.
Yeah.
I just need a little help getting my water.
Yeah. Even if
But-
you weren't in bed, I'd still do it, but I'd make fun of you.
Yeah. Not bad though. You just sort of goof off with me.
Yeah.
But-
Which, oh my God, that's a whole nother thing. We can talk about this in a bit, but like you need to be able to be playful, like with your words and everything. Like,
Yeah.
loosen up,
That's
fuckers.
the whole thing. Yeah. Yeah. But the other thing that's circling around right now too is there's this girl just saying like, please stitch this if you are in a good, healthy relationship with a good man, because there's just so much like BS going around, as I'm sure everyone can imagine. Like it's just so tough dating, and there's so many people. Like if I was more present on TikTok, I probably would make an in-depth video about this. Just because our relationship is just so good. I just feel so content all the time. I'm not worried that I've never one time thought, oh my, like anything insane, like, oh, you're going to go cheat on me. Oh, you don't. you know what I mean? Like, you don't have feelings for me anymore. Like, I just feel so content. Everything is just so calm.
Yeah.
And I've never felt that in a friendship, in a partnership. Like, it is just such a good breath of fresh air, you know? And I'm sure, hopefully, you feel like that too. I'm sure you do.
Oh,
I'm just
totally,
like
yeah.
assuming, obviously, but it's just like such a good feeling. You know, there's just so many people that don't feel like that.
Yeah. For me, the like new feeling, because like I feel like that peaceful like feeling that you have is like I was kind of felt like I was living in that beforehand. Like I discovered how to live like that, and like at least just in my home. Maybe not when I leave the home, but like in my home, I've like figured out how to feel like that at least some of the time. But like what I discovered was like the feeling of having someone around that doesn't like weigh you down, like that like actually lifts you. Like,
Yeah.
like it's like being around you is like better for me. Like I feel better than than
Yeah.
when I'm not, you know.
Yeah, I
And
feel
so-
like that too.
Yeah, and so it's just like I don't know. It's just that's the feeling I gained is just that real. I guess it is kind of the same thing, like just comfort and just I don't know, just real ease. Like it makes me feel relaxed being around you.
Yeah, I think that's something that you should look for in a partner, because there's been a lot of times, like I specifically own a business, and there's a lot of times where I've come to you and I'm like, I cannot do this anymore. Like I am physically and mentally, I'm so done with this. Like I'm not meant to do this anymore. And you're like, why? Why would you stop doing that? You love it. But I'm like, it's just so hard. Like running my business is easy, but like being a business woman and running the like back end of my business, it is so freaking hard. And I'm the only one that does it. I don't have any help with most of my business. And so it's just so hard. And I'm like, oh, Corey, I can't do this anymore. And you're like, why? Knock it off. Figure it out.
Yeah.
Get out there and go do it better. And I'm like, I can't.
I think the first couple of times or first time you did that, it's like I didn't know what to say. I just like trying to encourage you, and then like I realized the pattern that you would do that, and then like a couple months later, you'd be just in such a good mood about your business. I'm like, okay, no, she wants to do this, like needs to do this because this is like your thing.
Yeah.
And then a couple months later, you feel it again. I'm like, nah, remember a couple weeks ago, like you were freaking loving it. Like this is
Yeah.
just a little hiccup. Like chill.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the like being with someone that inspires you to be better is a really good thing.
Yeah, you need it. Yeah. Yeah, I
definitely.
guess kind of contradicting what I said in the last episode, like that you don't necessarily need a partner, but you do need someone to lift you up, like because it's
Oh, yeah.
it's not like it's not going to be easy all the time. Like you're not going to feel good all the time. You're probably going to feel worse more than you feel good.
Yeah.
So it's like
definitely. Yeah. That's just part of the human experience, though, I think, But, yeah. So, what did we put a pin in? Let's take it out.
the playful thing or the very first pin.
The very first one.
Oh,
Then we'll come back to yours.
what did we put a pin in?
Was it moving in?
Maybe.
I think that's what it was. I can't really remember, but that's definitely something that I wanted to talk about was like moving in.
Okay, we'll talk about that. Whether it's the pin or not.
Yeah, yeah. So 6 months into our relationship, you were like, so my lease is up here at the apartment and I'm looking to go somewhere else. Do you want to move in with me? Do you remember that?
Was that 6 months?
Might have been 8 months, but
Okay.
it was,
I thought that
we
was
were
over a year. I don't know.
No, we were not together for a full year yet. And you were like, do you want to move in together already? And I was like, maybe. I remember I was like, maybe, let me think about it. And I was thinking about it. And then I remember I brought it up to my mom and I was talking to my mom. And as soon as I said it out loud, I was like, that is so freaking insane. Like, just because I'm really into, for some people, that's not. And like, whatever, like if other people do that, I fully respect that and like support you, but just for me, like I'm so independent, and I was however old, like 22, and I had never moved out of my parents' house before. I was still living with my parents, so I was like, oh my god, I cannot do something like that. That is so irrational. And then I think I explained that to you, and you're like, yeah, that actually is a little a little bit much. That's a little too fast. Just because I remember when we first got together, I was like, I really want to take things slow. I'm not looking to get like married anytime soon. Like I just want someone to do life with. And you were like, absolutely. But we just got along so well, and we just wanted to be around each other so much. We were like, well, why don't we just do life a little faster, a little more together?
Yeah, I mean, like when we moved in, you could just feel that it's like the right time.
Yeah. So
like if you're even unsure, it's like probably not the right time.
yeah, for sure. So we were together for almost 2 years exactly when we moved out. It was like 2 years and a couple months is when we moved in together.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it just felt like the perfect time. It
Yeah.
almost like I was like waiting for it because I was going to move out in August, and it was like June. And I was like, oh man, like there's still like 2 more months. Like I was like hoping that it was going to like come faster. I was like really waiting for it, and I was like really looking forward to it. But I feel like once you feel like that, like, you know, it's like.
You moved in August of last year?
Uh-huh.
Dang.
Yeah.
Doesn't even seem, it feels like it was longer ago for some reason.
It was like the middle of August.
Yeah.
It does. So I was just telling my brother yesterday, like, I feel like we've been living together for a really long time, and
Yeah.
not in a bad way.
Yeah, it just feels like it's been normal for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like just like I live so close to my parents still, like it's like right up the street, but the new part of town-ish that I live in, the new neighborhood that I live in,
Yeah.
just feels like I've been here for so long too. Like it just feels so, maybe it's just because it was like so normal, and like it was just like natural for us to move in together.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that's a really sad thing that people do, is they move in together too fast. And I get that like a lot of people move in together because their leases are up.
Yeah, or they don't
just,
like,
like,
they
works
need
out.
someone
Yeah,
and they don't have
exactly.
another option. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, which is almost something that we did. And I'm really glad that we didn't do that, because I don't think that we would have still been together
Yeah.
past that.
Yeah, we definitely needed that space for the little bit of growth that
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a good thing to have space from your partner, especially when I knew that I wanted to be in a serious relationship with you, but we were still like, I feel like for the first even like 2-3 years, like you're just like establishing your relationship. I mean, my whole family, like my extended family, like my aunts, my uncles, like still have only, I think, met you once, but then like the whole rest of my extended family, you've never met. I've never met your extended family, you know? So it's like we are like establishing that like foundation.
Right. Right. Deciding who you keep close and
Yeah.
who you go around and that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
yeah, that space thing, that you know, dings something for me. I think space from your partner is needed. Like,
Yeah, very needed.
You can't hang out with them every single day, and you can't do every single thing. You can't have every single hobby.
Yeah.
It just won't work. Like, I think a lot of the reason we feel so peaceful is because we have hobbies and we do things that aren't with each other. And so when we get back to each other, it's like a breath of fresh air, and, you know, and it's like that whole thing.
Yeah, I remember at one point, this is a little while ago, but we were both like mutually like concerned because we don't have any hobbies in common at all.
Yeah, I remember that totally.
We don't do anything that's like similar even. Like it's just like
Yeah.
we are so different. So we were like, we're going to have to like start finding stuff that we like doing together. But everything that you like to do, I'm not super into, and vice versa. So we actually still to this day have never really found a hobby that we do
No,
together. I
I
mean,
mean,
maybe this counts.
Yeah, TV,
But-
like,
TV,
TV
even
isn't
then.
much of a hobby, but it's like, I don't know.
Even then, we started watching a TV show, and I was like really not into it, and I was just like trying
of Thrones.
really hard to be nice, and I was like, oh my god, this is dragging on. Like, how many more seasons is there? I was just for the sake of you wanting to watch it, I was just like trying
Yeah.
to watch it, but
Yeah.
I feel like even like we just like eventually just like stopped trying to look for things that we wanted to do, and then that just we were like creating a problem that it wasn't a problem.
Yeah.
Everything was fine.
Yeah, and like
We were just
we
like
still
worried.
do stuff together, but like our like hobbies aren't together. Just
And I think that's okay.
interesting. Yeah. I totally think it's okay too. Like, I guess something you could do together is a mutual hobby, but it's just like that's not the way it is for us, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that's okay. Really, what's really crazy is all relationships are so different. Like I'm sure if we were to say this to specifically like older generations, like we don't have anything in common, they would be like, like, see how long that lasts for.
Right.
Actually, that's not true. We like cooking together.
Yeah, but
So I
we
guess
kind of developed that
that's in
together,
common.
though.
So that's like something that we have in common. But anyways,
Yeah, we have plenty of things in common. Just our brains work differently, and our
Yeah.
hobbies are different.
I feel like that some people are like, oh, that's such a red flag. Like, you need to find someone that does stuff like with you. But
Nah.
I really disagree.
I like
And I
that.
like heavily disagree with that.
Yeah, I like having our hobbies separate. It's nice.
It is nice. Yeah. For like me, I'm not like a competitive person, but if I'm not like really good at something, like let's just say like you magically picked up like dancing like professionally, I would be like I would like not want I would not want to do that around you, just because then like you would start to like gain knowledge that like either is like more than mine, or I would just like feel like really like belittled in a way, just because like that's like my thing, you know. And now like you're
Interesting.
gonna like learn more, and now I'm gonna be like embarrassed if I do it around you, because like
Yeah.
maybe you could do it better than me, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
That's
it would just make me feel
that's
weird.
kind of funny. I'm like similarly competitive, but my mind goes to like, nah, I just want it to do better than you. Like,
Yeah.
I
So
want
maybe
you
it's
to
good.
I want you to see me do better than you.
Yeah, so then it is good that we don't have anything in
Yeah,
common, because
maybe
then I would
that's
just
why.
feel like garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's okay. Not having things in common, I think, is okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good thing, or not, or whatever, but
It works for
works for us.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
works for us, yeah.
Yeah, but another thing too is like I feel like this is like more of a fairly recent thing. Like when you're young and you first like get with someone, it's like really weird because you have to do like holidays separately, because like you have your own family and then they have their own family. So it's kind of sad. Like I think our first Christmas was separate. For sure, our first Thanksgiving was separate. We didn't get to see each other on
I
Thanksgiving.
think the first Christmas,
Did you come over?
It was the thing we always do where I'm at my mom's house, and then
Oh,
Christmas
yeah.
Day I come over for dinner.
Yeah, so I guess there's that, but for sure for like Thanksgiving, our first Thanksgiving wasn't
Yeah,
together
I
or
wasn't
anything.
even here.
So, but yeah, integrating your families together is a really weird thing. It's something that I've never experienced before, and like shade. I was gonna say like no shade, but like definitely shade to like my past partners, like families, because they were insane, like clinically, figuratively insane.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and so I could never like combine like our families together, because like they were crazy. Like
Yeah, that's the whole thing. You have to like your partner's family. That's
yeah,
like,
they didn't like my family, and like my family didn't like their family, so it was just like, ooh,
Yeah.
yay, awfulness. But
Yeah. Yeah.
so I just like your family is my first experience of like combining families together. Thank God your family is so nice, and like
Small though.
my family is really small
Yeah,
too,
that's
right?
true.
So my family is just my parents and then my brother for the most part.
Yeah.
And then yours is just your mom and your sister, so like thank God it's like so small too.
Right.
It's really overwhelming. Like my extended family like my aunts that came over for, whatever. Like, can you imagine? So all of them have at least like 3 or 4 kids, and then they all have like 2 or 3 kids in one house. Like that's how they hang out all the time.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I'm like, hi everyone, this is Corey. Like,
Yeah.
that's so. My mom had to do that because that's my dad's family. Can
Yeah.
you imagine how overwhelming that is?
Like a bunch of people, a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
Things breaking.
Everyone screaming.
Dogs peeing on the floor.
Literally, people are getting thrown off the second story balcony. Like insane, right? Like, so at least you didn't have to go through that.
Yeah.
But they're the nicest people, like literally ever. When my mom first met all of them, they were all like, "Oh yay, we're so glad to have another girl. Like, come on in." So it was like the best thing ever. But it's just like so many people. Like I would cry.
It's a little exhausting.
I would be crying and throwing up. Like, but yeah, your family is just so nice, so welcoming. I feel like very wanted around them, and I'm sure that's how you feel around my family.
Oh, totally.
My parents are always
Yeah.
like, "Is Corey coming?"
Yeah. It really just like when you become my family, then they became my family also. So it's like
Absolutely.
we're just like close. Like it's just I don't know. It's nice for me. I really like having it's like a second family.
Yeah, which I think is so. I'm so close to my family, so I could not be with someone that's not okay with me seeing my parents like literally like twice a week. Like I was just we were over at my parents' house last night, and then I went to go pick my mom up to do some stuff today, so I went over again today. So like 2 days in a row, I was over at their house. So I could not be with someone that was not like okay with me seeing them that much.
Right.
And like we go over every Sunday and have dinner with them. So like if you were like, that's too much time with your family, I'd be like, well, that's too bad for you.
Yeah, well, you've also said that I don't have to go over there every Sunday.
Of course not. And I mean, like, it's just like an open invitation. Like if we're both free, we both go.
Yeah.
kind of
Am I
thing.
really gonna turn down some bomb cooking? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. And my mom throws down.
No chance I'm turning that down ever. I'll go over there and sit and eat some yum food.
Yeah, she could call us right now and be like, oh,
Yeah,
I'm
I'd be
coming
like,
over.
we're in the podcast now. I'm gonna get some food.
yeah. Yeah. So thankfully, it's been very, very easy so far. And even this was our first year having our families together on Thanksgiving. So that was really nice.
Yeah, that was cool.
That's something that I've always wanted, is just to have like, because I grew up with a small family and so did you. Like I've always wanted to have not like a big family, but just like a medium.
My family actually felt like kind of big, like growing up. It
Yeah.
felt smaller and smaller the less and less I saw my dad. But
Yeah.
yeah, like my mom's side felt really big growing up. But yeah, drama.
Well, and just like getting older too, people are just like do other
So
things,
busy
and
and-
they have their own kids, so
Yeah.
it's hard to see your cousins more.
I know. I
Because
see
of
my
that.
cousins' kids or my second cousins, and it's like they're like 10 years older every time I see them.
Yeah, isn't that
like,
crazy?
What the heck?
Yeah,
You're giant.
yeah, and that's always really weird too. Like my one cousin that comes all the time to Reno, so I guess those I don't know how the second cousin thing.
We did the
works.
whole.
It's too
we,
much
we,
for
we
me.
did the
It's too
whole
much.
figuring out of how that works,
Yeah.
and I've already forgotten.
It's just too much to understand for me, honestly. Like, but so my cousin's kids, which I don't freaking know, those are my cousins too. Like they're a lot younger than me too. I mean, they're like 15, and I'm 10 years older than them. But it's just kind of sad to me that we don't live together, so we're like not close, and then I hardly see them. So like, why would they remember me? You see them every like 5 or 6 years. So it's sad that they don't remember. But then I'm like, oh my gosh, hey girl, and they're like 10. They don't remember you, like, because they were like 4 the last time
Yeah,
you saw them.
yeah.
So they're like, yeah. But yeah, it's been fairly easy integrating I feel like our whole lives have it's been a very slow, easy migration.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's been fairly easy, but
Do we have some more points we got to hit on
That
the
was
on the
on my
list?
list,
Oh my
yeah,
god,
that
we
was
got through the
it.
list. I thought we were gonna have another episode.
I don't think so. But we do have one more thing, that your pin. Being
Oh
silly
my
willy
God,
with your
yeah.
partner. That's our last thing.
Gosh, okay. This is something that frustrates me because I don't like necessarily being around people that aren't willing to be like fun,
Yeah.
like not fun in the necessarily traditional sense, but fun in the like relax. Like doesn't
Yeah.
need to be this uptight, hurt feeling, worrying going on.
Uh-huh.
Like you need to be able to talk shit. Like
Yeah.
like
But that's to an extent.
Yeah, but like you
Yeah.
don't need to even discuss the extent because you trust and like
Yeah.
know what it is.
Yeah.
Like, but you need to be able to do that. Like, we need to be able to shoot shit and like laugh about it and
Yeah.
be totally fine afterwards because it's just fun. And
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know. It just like it loosens it up. Otherwise you're all worried about like what if your partner is worried or if you're making your partner feel bad, or if you're saying too much, and
Yeah.
Yep.
I've experienced that quite a bit. First, are you saying that because like you've experienced that too?
I mean, not me personally, but like I've seen it.
So-
I've totally seen it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
One of my first like, not like, I haven't really been like super serious with anyone other than you, but I was with someone for like a very long time, like about 4 years, and another really good friend of mine. This is kind of a weird dynamic, I guess, but my co-owner at the studio is my parents' age, and I was really close with her kids, and then all of her kids, I just became friends with them, and I started dating someone in the group, like blah blah blah. But that someone that I started dating would always roast the hell out of me, like
Oh.
embarrassing, like it was like really embarrassing to me. But we were all like friends, so it was like easy to like laugh it off. But
Mm-hmm.
then that person started like just flaming the hell out of like everyone that we were with, and it was to the point where I couldn't like be around it anymore, and that person wasn't allowed at my co-owner's house anymore.
Oh.
So now I couldn't hang out with my friends with my boyfriend because he was just so like disrespectful, like blatantly disrespectful in their house.
Yeah.
Like it was so uncomfortable all the time, and I felt like that all the time. Like it's just like it was like so embarrassing.
Yeah,
Like-
that's not what I'm talking about. But
No
like,
way, no, and I'm
yeah.
not saying that's what
Yeah,
you're
no, I
saying
know you're
either.
not,
But
yeah.
like, it was just like it was the worst of, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
and like, why are we being like this? Like like I'm supposed to be your girlfriend,
Right.
and you're like flaming me in front of like your friends. Like I don't know if it was just like a guy thing. He wasn't like mature enough to just like I don't know, like just be like normal.
Yeah.
You know, it was just the weirdest thing.
I mean,
And how
yeah.
embarrassing too for me. Like nonetheless, like he's embarrassing me, but how embarrassing that I have to bring you around my friends.
Yeah.
And now you're being like this to everyone. Like
Yeah, that's
so
odd.
embarrassing.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was like, I don't know, like the way guys are, at least my friends are. We like roast the fuck out of each other. Like,
And me too. Do you remember that one time me and Nick were getting into it at the
Yeah,
apartment, and
probably.
you were like, "Were you being serious? Are you okay now?" That was such
Yeah.
a long time ago.
yeah, that was a while ago. I had to dig deep. And
Yeah.
I still don't really remember. But,
Of course.
but yeah, no, we roast the shit out of each other. But we all know you can't say the same thing to your girlfriend.
No way.
But
yeah.
like, also, why? Like, I don't know. That's just there's levels to it.
And why would you want to?
Yeah.
I would never, ever want to like hurt you in that kind of a way, you know?
Right, yeah, like, I don't know. There's levels to it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna make fun of you when you're like doing something goofy or something, or
Yeah,
like,
sure.
or like I'm gonna call you a funny name, or like whatever.
Yeah.
Talk shit, whatever. But like, I'm not gonna roast you. I'm not gonna like break at real insecurities. You know, like,
Yeah, right? Like, yeah, that was another thing too. Not like poking at like something that you are like insecure about.
Yeah.
And you're like, why would you say that in front of all my friends too
Yeah.
now? Like,
yeah,
it's just so, that's so foul to me. Like,
yeah. That's not the kind of roasting
Being
we're
like
talking
that.
about. But
yeah, not at all. But yeah, some people are like, I think what you were trying to get at is like, some people are way too serious about
yeah, because it's like
everything.
they have to say everything nice and perfect all the time,
Yes.
always, and it's like, relax. Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna be so stressed and worried that you're hurting your partner's feelings. Like,
Sometimes,
relax.
like, I'm sure you'll like, I've been like, so I said something like 15 minutes ago. Like I said this, I didn't really mean it like that. I hope that you didn't take it like that. And you'll either say like, oh yeah, thanks for clarifying. Or like, I didn't even think of it like that. Like you didn't even need to say that. But I'm like, it's like, I get worried that I've like have said something that would potentially upset you. And I feel like guilty about it.
Yeah.
So then I'll be like, I'm so sorry. Like I didn't mean it
Yeah.
like that.
I feel like when that happens, it's usually not like a roast or play. It's like you said something else. Like maybe you like responded in some way,
Yeah.
and like you didn't mean it for it to sound a certain way, but
I
did
feel
or
like a
didn't.
couple of times I have roasted you, and I was like, that felt kind of mean. And you're like, no, I don't think so. It's
Yeah.
probably because your friends are always like
God.
insane.
Yeah, you can take so much. Yeah, if you are a guy and want to be in a friend group, you've got to be able to take so much shit.
Yeah.
Which, like, I feel like I kind of prefer it to not be that way, but well, that's just the way it is, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I see like the way that I see like boys interact, like essentially like my brother, like with his friends growing up, I would be like, my friend ever said something like that to me, like I would never speak to them again. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes it does actually end up hitting too hard, and then you have to like apologize or you don't, but
You just gotta kind of like laugh it off. But then if it's like that's like so normal to like your like dynamic, like do you even say anything? You know what I mean? Like you just gotta kind of like laugh it off, and you're like,
Yeah.
that was really painful. Thank you. You know?
yeah, or like it just someone gets visibly upset about it. and like,
Yeah, that's
Whoops.
awful. Like I feel so awful whenever I make anyone upset.
like that, yeah.
I will think about it for the next 5 years,
Oh,
nonstop
totally.
every day.
Yeah.
That's how I am, though.
Yeah. I mean, I like forget what I even did the day before. I can't even think of the last word I said.
Oh, I know.
We're two different people.
Really, if I have not stressed this enough so far on this podcast, we are very different.
We work pretty much opposite.
Nothing in common, very different.
I think about nothing. She thinks about everything.
Yeah. Yeah, you're the passenger princess in this relationship. I get to think about everything and you just don't.
Yeah, I just prance along,
Yeah, literally.
run into walls occasionally.
Yeah. Skipping
Yeah,
through a meadow.
yeah. Oh, well,
I
should
think
we
that's
land
it.
the ship?
Those are all of our pins.
Okay, we've gone back and
Yeah.
detached them.
Yeah. I feel like there almost could potentially be a part 3 to relationships. I feel like there are just so
Yeah.
many aspects to it, but I think for now I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I don't. There probably doesn't need to be a part 3 yet, but we'll probably end up
Yeah.
talking about it again in the future.
Yeah, maybe
But,
we'll loosely say to be continued, but not
To be
anytime
continued, but
soon.
don't hope on it. Don't pray. Don't sit there and wait and refresh to
Yeah.
look for the next relationship episode.
Because it won't be there.
It won't be there, or it might not. All right. Well, this is the Bite the Abstract podcast with Core and Liz signing off.